Hi there, it's Brooke again. I'm trying to switch channels all the time, so they won't be targeted as much. So if you see that, you find a channel then don't have any uploads, it's just because I'm taking a break from there. And I want to open more channels. Because, it is very different, as I always said, to have shit bouncing in your head. We have a lot of shit bouncing inside our heads as human beings, but it's not the same. It is not the same. I mean, like, I was in therapy from 2005 to 2020. And I got to see a little bit of the power of is it like verbalizing? Is that what they say? And that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it that well, I've been living in New York City for a couple of decades already. So I know it's very, very hard to have gathering spaces. I know as a Mexican, we always struggle, to find spaces for just a regular calendar, social calendar. And we always end up in these horrible churches that they hate us. They hate us, but they want they want to see the damn churches full, filled up. And that's something that, since it's the first time in 70 years that we got to elect our own government, that should be part of the diplomatic agenda, to focus on the quality of the Mexican population in the United Slaves, right? Just look at the Italians. We got all these community centers. Uh-oh, here come the park people. The so-called Jewish, the Khazars. Like 15, 20-story high community centers. But it is imperative to invest everything that needs to be invested in the restoration of our sanity, the restoration of our sanity, because we are insane. from more than 3 centuries of white occupation, exploitation, indoctrination. A lot happened. Shit, if our African American brothers and sisters don't care about that, you know, I have felt like, you know, they are my main priority because just because of the fact that we have to prioritize the most oppressed, the most affected, neglected, demonized. You know, it's the biggest tragedy in the history of this planet. And I say that because it happened to the best. It was purposely perpetrated against their best, against the best of the best. In the West, in the East, everywhere. And that is and that is the number one talent of the crackers, you know. They waste no time identifying who is the biggest threat. Like, immediately, they went like, yeah, well, men, of course. They know our men, you know, talking about in the entire Anahuac, you know, which is from, I guess, Lower Canada to Nicaragua, which that's exactly what it means. Until here, Anahuac, with an H or with a K and a W. Up north, they spell it with a W and a K. And now with a castellanización, you know, the crackerization, you know, of Latin America, you know. And just those divisions, you know, how effective they've proven. How effective they've proven. Oh, we don't speak the same language, so fuck off. Fuck off. It's like, we don't want to know about what is it that they're working on, or African American brothers and sisters, and vice versa, and vice versa. You know, I mean, it's not, I think more and more every day, thank God, more African American leaders, they're finding out that they was just used to create, you know, a bigger gap between Mexican and the African American community. You know, it's just I think more and more they're waking up to that. I hope, but you know, then again, there is what is it that they do behind closed doors, right? And I mean, that has always been like, that's one of the reasons why I left African American Twitter. I used to read faithfully every day, you know, African American Twitter, and I'd say, like, you know, fuck it. It's just a hopeless cause. It's a hopeless cause because they want to, you know, like they say, they're cake and they want to eat it too. Fighting and, you know, at the same time, it's like, oh, but my career gotta flourish, you know, my career got to be this, got to be that, you know, and sometimes it happens naturally, sometimes it don't, and it's a greatest, not a greatest, but it's a great injustice, right? That the true organizers are starving. It's like because of that, because of those years, which I've been talking about, like, you know, they didn't start. They didn't start 4 years ago with that orange piece of shit. You know, it's been solid like 10 years of you know, anti-Mexican, you know, sentiment, narrative, always like, you know, oh, look at them, look at that, whatever, you know, just I mean, I have asked the even Puerto Ricans. There's a few Puerto Ricans that they know the truth and they speak the truth. They say, you know, some see as, you know, how am I going to get into the system, into the welfare system? While the great majority of the Mexican population is just like, fuck them. Let's say, like, where there's a tiny little niche that nobody wanted, nobody want to be doing it, and that's where we pick off, because, you know, we realize that, you know, ecosystems are fragile. And that's probably why there's also a lot of writing about the Mexicas. The Mexicas, Nahuas, you know, that the crackers they call Aztecs, you know, they make up terms for us. We don't even have the agency to say, that's not my name. You know, they went from the Tomoancan to the Olmecs, the peoples of the rubber trees. You know, I mean, like, yeah, that was the peoples of the rubber trees. But at the same time, you know, that's not how we're going to study them. That's why nobody can find anything on them, because they strategically hid, they strategically have, you know, manipulated information to see, like, oh, it's a mystery. The Olmecs is a mystery. You know, somebody pointed out, I forgot who it was, and now I'm feeling like a little bit like one of these professors, oh my goodness, was it, I don't know, it could have been Mr. Green Gorilla, or I don't know who that was, but, you know, to see that in Liberia, they got rubber trees too. So the people who develop an empire in Liberia are the same ones who developed the empire here in the Nahuac. I mean, those are some of the coincidences. You like, what? I mean, we know the rest is history. I know that. I think it was Firestone or one of the crackers corporations, you know, took over Liberia, and everything where there's no unity, you know. One of the hardest thing for me to learn was, you know, the population in the African continent is going down. It is going down. It's been going down, because that's what they've been working for centuries already, the Europeans. Always selling, you know, oh, the quality of life can only happen if you stop having children. And how many idiots they believe that shit? I'm not saying that it might be true for some times. I mean, you got to be intentional too. You have to have a plan, you know, just to say like, oh, I'm having 2 children and that's it. No, you have to raise those children. You have to actually work at it. Simple as that. Simple as that, you know. So I have a lot of shit in the head and in coco. Um, it's a lot of frustration too, and impotence. You know, like you know, you have to study. You know why the crackers took down Dr. Phil Valentine's video. Why? I mean, I saw it, and you know, I mean, like it's the same stuff that he's been kind of talking. I mean, he was a little bit more explicit this time, you know, but so I mean, the obvious answer is that okay, so he got it. He hit it. He hit the nail straight in the head, and that's a horrible notion. You know, like the more you look into that, the more you look into that, you go like already find out it's like shit. You know, this transhumanism agenda has already been implemented in millions and millions of human beings. And that shit is like a game changer because these people are going to start acting the way they're going to start acting. And nobody's going to be able to pinpoint it. Just think about like, you know, all our lives. We all been one way or another been injected, you know, for something. I know I had already like probably 30 or 40 vaccines already in my 55 years here on this planet. And you gotta like, you know, what are the effects? What are the effects? You know, like, wow, just look around, look at your apartment, look at, you know, procrastination, look at self-doubt, look at all that shit. It's like, that's not a human trait. Those are not human traits. I mean, like, just look at throughout history. I mean, like, you've seen entire nations building and going about their business. I mean, like, you know, just the historians, the first historians that went into Tenochtitlan, you know, they saw people thriving. They saw people, you know, doing great things. I mean, even in Tlatelolco, they were selling lion skins. There was lion furs. There was like, you know, just can you imagine? I mean, like the level of, you know, and the more I know, I mean, I know this land always been a refuge for everybody, not the pilgrims. The pilgrims was not, they didn't know refuging, they didn't know nothing. They knew exactly what they came here for. You know, the more I read, the more I learn, the more I think about it, the more I study this shit. It's like, these crackers, they knew exactly what they were looking to get into. They already went and they already have people's accounts. They already have, you know, everything. They knew. I mean, like, if it wasn't the Malinche, you know, that horrible woman who became Hernan Cortés bitch. Then who was it that they told them one day it was the day of Quetzalcoatl? Who told them how to get dressed for the festival of Quetzalcoatl? Who told them all that shit if it wasn't her? I don't know. The more I see that they had a manual, they had a script, you know, for every day of the year, and what we will be doing those days in this land. I know people are gonna say like you're crazy. Now you're like, you know, how they knew so much shit. How they knew, like, you know. The moment they was found out, which it only took like 48 hours tops before the elder in Cholula, they found out who they was, and they told them. And they told them, we know who you are, blah, 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 and they just killed them all. They killed the best of the best. Like I said, you know, Cholula was the sacred city. It was like, you know, like where we study Ma'at. You study the Meduneter, you know, I mean, that kind of like parallel, you know, for us is the Toltecayotl. That's where you study the Toltecayotl. So, you know, people, they think, you know, they say the Toltec culture, it was not Toltec culture. It was the level of consciousness of the Toltec. When you reach that level of consciousness, then you was a Toltec. Not because your mother was a Toltec or your father was a Toltec or whatever. No, it was like you work into mastering nature. The same thing as, you know, in Kemet. Is the similarities are unbelievable, and I still every day, you know, I find the channel, whatever, and I tell them, you know, our African brothers and sisters, they knew, they used to come. They was in the Anahuac centuries and centuries before the damn crackers, and I get pushed back, I get like, you know, like crazy, and they just say no. From where? They don't. I'm yet to see somebody to present a case where they say there's no effing way the African people was the one who brought us the civilization, the Olmec, the Tomoancan. So there was this lady, you know, like, she looked like really white. She looked really white, you know. I forgot her name, but she was kind of civilized, you know, because, you know, I approached her from another channel. I guess she didn't know the name, but it's like, basically, I mean, I couldn't be like, in less than 3 years, I'm already like an outlaw in my own country, you know. As, you know, crazy or whatever. You know, it's only 12. This is so crazy. You know, the time hasn't gone. Yeah, they have the same time here. Well, I feel like I've been here for hours. No, it's only 24 minutes. Wow. You know, some days I feel like I sit here and I'm already like, oh, 2 hours. Today I feel like time is going very slow, I guess, because I don't have anything in mind to talk about and to bring, you know, like, because like I say, I have there's a lot of information that you know, they are are disclosing a lot of information right now to perpetuate the same bullshit. It's like you see, there's a few, there's a few crackers that they're so evil with their corporations, blah blah blah, and everybody fall for that shit. Everybody fall for that shit. They're disclosing some really heavy shit. Again, they've been doing that for the past, well, ever since we found out about the internet. They've been, spewing and spewing and spewing more and more and more. And, it's crazy how people, they just take it as conspiracy. Or they just take it as a theory. No, it's a theory. We don't have evidence. Well, you don't have evidence? Like, look around. Look around. I can understand that all these so-called theories, which is more like disclosures, like, oh, come on, and, and we see the world, the whole planet is working perfectly. Everything is great, if there's a natural disaster, we react as human beings, and because we have allocated all this budget for all natural disasters. You notice how how everybody like forgot about that already? Well, I don't know. I check sometimes the hashtags. I don't see, almost every day, see like, what are the popular hashtags? And I'm like, well, shouldn't that be? So it's like, some hashtags are good. Like, I can see that they're like, I don't get into some of them, those rabbit holes, but I asked that question a year ago, even before we knew. We got 3 months. We got a 3-month warning from China, and all they did, it was like, they dropped whatever stock they thought they needed to drop, and they acquired whatever they needed to acquire in order to land on their feet, as always. I posted another article yesterday on, just how much wealth this scamdemic have created. Wealth. I'm not talking about like people like, they're doing well, they're doing good with their businesses doing good. No, I'm talking about wealth. Wealth. And it's just like, we got everything we need just to be like, you don't need to be like screaming and yelling, just keep saying it, just keep saying. Whatever happened to the contingency funding after 9/11? There was a lot of trust funds or whatever. What is the other one? Fiduciary, whatever. I don't even know the names. There was policies, insurance policies created just after 9/11, by their corporations. There was like, you know what I mean? There was a, where is that money? Where is that money? Or, have they actually told us? Because I haven't heard. Have they actually told us how we cannot have access to that money because we don't qualify for that kind of contingency? What about Hurricane Sandy? They snore it. They snore all these funds, emergency funding or contingency funding. They snort it the moment that they can see, like, oh, we can take it out. We can take it out. They went like, where is the funding? We don't have it. We don't have it. There's no budget. There's no budget. But there's budget to be distributing this nasty food they're delivering. Like, like I told you, this chicken with not a damn bone. These humongous pieces of chicken. Alleged chicken. Breaded. It looked like chicken, whatever. It's like, without any licitations. It's not like they said, it's like, oh wow, because of the scamdemic, we're gonna be providing meals for everybody. Please, everybody, give us your resume. You're a restaurant, whatever. You want to be, getting a slice of this shit. Send us your resume. Send us your menu. What is it that you have to give New Yorker families? Because we want only the best for families in New York. Oh no. Immediately. I mean, I look at the labels on all these meals. They don't say shit. They don't even know where they're coming from. These meals, most of them. There's tons all over the street. I mean, I pass by, every day. I pass by. People cannot even eat them. They are tasteless. They have like, I guess people are hungry, right? People gonna eat whatever they're gonna eat. There's no transparency on nothing. I mean, like, something as basic as that. As, just performing, just licitations. Fair licitations for everybody. For everybody. Guess what? We're gonna need all this shit, like whatever. Send us. I mean, they should already been having that. They should already be know what corporations, what like whatever. They got something. Let's say like Sylvia's restaurant in Harlem. I don't know. I guess they got a little slice, and they only that food don't make it all the way uptown. I guess. I don't know, but I've been saying from day one, where's all this food coming from? How much are they charging us taxpayers for each one of these meals? Yeah, we got everything, right? But how much? And who got that cut? You know what I mean? This is a basic questions. Just basic ass questions that anybody should be like be posting. If you only go to Twitter once a week, they should be like, oh, I want to know where all these tens of hundreds of thousands of meals that we're providing to fellow New Yorkers, where they're coming from. What's in them? Oh, no, nothing. Some basic shit. But the reason I wanted to bring it back again, the fact that, all of a sudden I remember that I have been almost 15 years, I guess. It's going to be 15 years, I guess, in a couple of years, in this journey of decolonization. Or, I would say call it healing, right? Because that's also part of it, a big part of it. A big part of it is healing from the trauma of growing up. And shit, when was when you found out, we don't run anything, the whites are the ones who run everything, and we don't do, we're not allowed to do shit. That's kind of like what I wanted to. Let me start getting going. You know what I mean? It's, I guess, thinking about me like, whatever, 12, 13 years ago, whatever, when I first realized it's like, oh, there's nothing without first, doing a thorough cleansing of our minds. So obviously I knew there was a sense of urgency. But now, come on, with this transhumanism, it's like just learning all of a sudden, just like, time's up. Time's up. Time's up. People worry about the damn vaccines, but not about the testing. Not about the testing. And that is tragic. That is very, very, very tragic right there. That I mean, it is like one of those movies, or like the Twilight Zone. I leave my house every day. That I leave my house, not every day. I mean, like, if it's nasty outside, I don't. But the first thing I see when I get to the avenue, which is just 1 block away, the avenue, I see these long lines of people right in front of the subway. Right in front of the subway. People waiting to get it. Waiting to get it. You know what I mean? Wow. I show you about the beautiful offices that they brought in. The portable offices. They're beautiful. These portable offices. And I mean, every day, even on Sunday, there's a line and line and line. And you have to produce it every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks or 2 months, I forgot. Whatever. So there's people that already been injected. And I think that's why they took down the video, because he was showing exactly what that is. That is the membranous cavity. Straight to our brain. They go straight to our brain. While you have all these doctors say that shit is unnecessary. Unnecessary. Oral swab, I mean, that's if we had the technology, right? To do the testing. Just an oral swab and that's it. It's just insane. I mean, like, people are starting to dissect the so-called protest, the so-called George Floyd protest. And people finding out that the same branches of the same financial institutions in every damn city got hit by the protesters. How can every protest in those cities target the same financial institutions? You know what I mean? These are simple details that any journalist, I didn't go to journalism school, or no school at all. I mean, like, You know, I went and I fell asleep in class. You know, but now you can do your own studies on your own. Now you have top scientists saying that the biggest culprit is the education. You know, the biggest culprit is the education. I'm like, okay, so yeah, they're revealing the truth now. But not because they want change. They are revealing the truth so they tell you, see how powerful we are and how shameless, what kind of psychopaths that we get you in debt for the next couple of decades, while at the same time you pay for your own indoctrination. Oh my God, without the sun it's just insane. Let me cross the street, might as well. You know what I mean? That is some kind of evil. That is some sick kind of evil. And that we're gonna back those injections. We gotta go back to the injections. There's no other way to go. There's no other way to, how else can you explain all this passivity? It's just like, I mean, people know these things, if my business stay closed another month, that's it. We are not gonna recover from it. And people, quiet. Because we're talking about livelihoods. We're talking about people's livelihood. Sometimes even generations of mom and pops that, they got this business going. And, 4-6 months, look at this. Like this, there's a lot. They invested all this money. You say like, oh, that's shit. Yeah, but to them, to make that little tent that, nobody wants to eat it there because if they have to have the heaters too. You gotta have the heaters. And that's only the whites. Only the whites. They got them like over there on Dykeman and Broadway. I saw their shit arrived. Months ago. I saw they had like brand new space heaters, commercials, for outdoor dining. Everybody else, not so much. Everybody else, not so much. I don't think there's a step. I always do this shit. Yeah. I don't think there's a connection. I cannot go out. But anyway, I stay in the sun a little bit. I guess I have to hang up this phone because I'm gonna be going into Burnside. So shit is not even crazy. We passed crazy a long, long time ago. And, and even when, there was a lot of people warning about this reset, it just seemed like helplessness, just total helplessness, This tiny little virus is responsible for everything now. Everything that was bad, just like that orange piece of shit. You saw how quick he got made into the only bad president. Oh shit, it was so great. We was already coming out and whatever, and boom, we got that orange piece of shit in the White House, and everything fell apart. True or false? Racism, white supremacy is like, oh yeah. And you saw there's a lot of stickers everywhere, impeach Trump, impeach. Just the same thing they did with the Bushes, the same thing that they always do. Like, okay, so you impeach, and then what? I confronted these people. I say, that's not the problem. That is not the problem. One president, two presidents is not the problem. But I guess people are stupid. And people, they still believe that. Now the fact that we are defaulting in our debt, in a foreign debt crisis that we got in, it described as unpayable debt that we got. Trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, defaulting our debt. That's because of the virus. That's because of the virus. Humanity was doing so great, and that's what their books are gonna say. No matter when, 10 years from now, 100 years from now, they say, everything was so great. After the Industrial Revolution and all that shit, everything was so good. But, this damn virus, people had to shut down their businesses. People had to shut down everything, to avoid having billions. It's like I can see them already. I can see their studies saying like, oh, if there wasn't shut down the businesses, we would have like billions of people dying from the virus. That's what they always say. That's what they always do. And it goes uncontested. Uncontested. It's not like, shut the fuck up. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. You already had emptied the arks. You had already stolen our gold. You had already done that, decades before this damn virus was manufactured at the Dietrich military base, wherever it was manufactured. You know what I mean? There's no pushback. I mean, like, because we find comfort in that shit. No matter how many times they tell us, 9/11 was, a domestic affair. It was an inside job. And like, we still continue, remembering 9/11 and everything instead of like saying, shut the fuck up. Stop the lies. And that is a defeated nation. That proved right there. We are totally defeated. Not only conquered people, we are totally defeated people. Right now, all I see people are doing is like, they must have a conscience. Their consciousness is gonna kick in. I mean, huh. There was a sign right there and it's gone. Huh? That's good. So that means that, okay, anyway. I don't even know what else to say, to tell you the truth. It's what I consider to be a miracle. I consider it to be a miracle that I'm still speaking, and I'm still speaking up, in spite of being aware of how hopeless it is, how pointless. Because I still have faith. Like I said, it only requires one human being. It only requires one person to, oh, where is that person? Come on, where is it? Where is it? I guess after more than 2,000 years, I guess the crackers already mastered the art of spotting any potential leadership. I guess they're so good at it that they just like squash it even before. That's the only explanation I have. That is the only explanation I have, is like how is it that we have not been able to have any political leader?
Oh, 2 pigs in the lotion.
I guess since Kennedy, right? We got this damn bozo